My sisters and brothers, every single day you and I are faced with decisions. Some feel so ordinary that we barely notice them. What to wear, what to eat, who to respond to, what to ignore. But what if I told you that even those small, seemingly insignificant choices are silently shaping the course of your life? Because the truth is that every decision defines direction, and that direction becomes your destiny. You don't just stumble into your future, you walk into it step by step, decision by decision. Think about the way a river carves its path through rock, not all at once, but gradually, drop by drop. That's how your choices work. Each decision is a drop, and over time, they create a stream of habits, a flow of actions, a path of consequences. It may not feel like much when you're choosing between patience or reaction, between prayer or delay, between silence or argument, but those little moments are powerful. They're the steering wheel of your life. And just like a few degrees of turn on a road can change your destination by miles, your daily choices can shift your entire future. Now, I know life isn't always clear-cut. Sometimes we're confused. We stand at a crossroad unsure of what's right. But that's where the heart comes in. A sincere heart, one that genuinely seeks guidance, will find its way, because Allah promises it. The one who consults Him through istikhara, through prayer, through pondering deeply, is not left in darkness. He may not give the answer all at once, but the path becomes clear with time, with sincerity, with trust. Sometimes we look back and think, if only I had chosen differently. But don't let that weigh you down. That past decision brought you here, and from here, you still get to choose again. Life isn't one grand decision, it's a series of them. And no matter how far you've gone in one direction, a new destiny is always just one choice away. Choose wisely. It's easy to think that only the big, life-altering decisions matter, the ones that involve jobs, marriage, moving countries, or signing major contracts. But in reality, it's often the small, everyday choices that quietly shape the deepest parts of our destiny. These are the decisions that don't make headlines in your life, but have long-lasting effects. How you choose to spend your time, how you speak to others, what you feed your mind and soul, whether you pick up your phone or pick up the Quran, these small actions become habits, and habits shape character. And your character over time builds the life you end up living. Imagine someone who wakes up and chooses to stay in bed just a little longer. It doesn't seem like a big deal at first, but that small decision, repeated over days, weeks, and months, leads to missed prayers, a rushed routine, and eventually a disconnection from discipline and purpose. On the other hand, someone who wakes up and chooses to push themselves out of bed, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, that choice begins to create a momentum. It trains the soul for resilience, for intention, for commitment. The difference between these two people doesn't lie in a massive turning point. It lies in the small choices made consistently. That's why the Prophet Lutfi reminded us that the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if they are small. Because Allah knows the power of repetition. He knows how these seemingly tiny decisions form the fabric of who we become. And when you understand that, you no longer wait for a grand moment to turn your life around. You begin right now, right here, with the next choice. Every decision you make, even choosing to forgive, to listen instead of argue, to hold your tongue instead of speak in anger, those are powerful moves. And the more you make these good decisions, the more they open up new roads you never imagined. Because Allah doesn't just reward the result, He rewards the intention, the effort, the small step. So don't underestimate the power of today's choice. One small decision could be the seed of a completely different destiny. In life, so many of us are in a rush. We act quickly, speak without thinking, react without reflecting. But the truth is, most regrets don't come from what we took time to think through. They come from the things we did on impulse. In a moment of anger, we say something we can't take back. In a moment of excitement, we commit to something we're not ready for. In a moment of pressure, we follow a path that doesn't align with who we truly are. That's why learning to pause, to breathe, to seek clarity before making a decision is not just wise, it's necessary. A thoughtful decision carries weight. It shows maturity, awareness, and faith. It tells Allah, I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm not just following my nafs, I'm seeking a better outcome. That kind of intention alone brings barakah. Even if the decision doesn't bring immediate success, it brings growth. Because when you choose with purpose, you're already moving in the right direction. When you're faced with a choice, the world might pressure you to act fast. Decide now, they'll say. Everyone's doing it, they'll insist. But in those moments, the strongest thing you can do is slow down. Let your decision be guided by faith, not fear. Let it be rooted in clarity, not chaos. Ask yourself, does this choice bring me closer to Allah or pull me away? Does it feel right in my heart? Or am I being driven by anxiety, ego, or the need to please people? Because when you act on impulse, you give control to your emotions. But when you act with reflection, you give space for divine guidance to enter. And that's when powerful things start to happen. The decisions you make begin to align with a purpose far greater than yourself. They begin to open doors that no one else can see, but Allah has prepared just for you. So let your next decision be different. Don't rush, don't react, reflect, ask, seek. And when the time feels right, step forward, not with fear, but with faith. One thoughtful decision can protect you from years of regret and lead you into a life you'll be grateful for. Sometimes we struggle with the idea of destiny. If everything is already written, then what's the point of making choices? Why worry about decisions if Allah has already decided their outcome? But that thinking misses the beauty of how destiny and free will work together in Islam. Allah, in His infinite knowledge, already knows what we will choose, but He still gives us the space to choose. And through those choices, new doors open, new roads appear, and new destinies unfold. You're not forced into a life. You're guided, nudged, tested, but never stripped of your ability to choose. That's where your strength lies. You can choose faith over fear. You can choose patience over frustration. You can choose truth even when lies seem easy. These choices shape the direction of your journey, and while Allah knows the destination, you are given the chance to walk there willingly. That's why dua is so powerful. You're asking Allah, guide my heart to what is best. Not to what is easiest or most popular, but to what He knows will lead to goodness in this life and the next. And the beautiful part is that even when you feel unsure, even when the outcome looks unclear, Allah is still orchestrating everything perfectly behind the scenes. The pain you avoided, the opportunity you received, the delay that frustrated you, none of it is random. It's all part of a divine plan unfolding in response to your choices and your prayers. You're not walking blind. Allah places signs, feelings, people, and moments in your path to steer you. But you have to be awake. You have to be present. Because when your heart is tuned to Him, you begin to see those signs more clearly. And when you act on them with sincerity, your decisions begin to align with His will. That's when true barakah enters your life. That's when you find peace even when the path is hard. Because you know your decision was made with Allah for Allah. So never underestimate the role your choices play in your destiny. You are not a spectator in your own life. You are an active participant gifted with the ability to choose right from wrong, light from darkness. And when you choose with faith, every step forward becomes a step toward the destiny Allah has written beautifully just for you. We've all made mistakes. Some we regret deeply, some we try to hide. And some follow us like a shadow, whispering that we're not worthy, not good enough, not capable of change. But that's a lie your past tells you when you forget how merciful your Creator is. Your past may explain how you got here, but it does not decide where you're going next. Because in Islam, your future is not chained to your mistakes. It's shaped by your next sincere decision. That's the hope we hold on to. That's the power Allah has placed in our hands. Maybe you've taken the wrong path or stayed silent when you should have spoken up. Maybe you've broken hearts, missed prayers, wasted time, or harmed yourself in ways no one else knows. But even there, Allah gives you the chance to turn around. Tawbah is a door that never truly closes. And the moment you say, I want to return, Allah responds with more mercy than you can imagine. It's not about becoming perfect overnight. It's about choosing better, one decision at a time. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us that the one who repents from a sin is like the one who never sinned at all. That's not just forgiveness. That's a fresh start. That's Allah saying, I see your effort. I accept your change. And sometimes that change begins with one small but sincere decision. A decision to stop a harmful habit. A decision to speak the truth. A decision to return to prayer. a decision to forgive yourself and move forward. People around you may define you by your past. They may not forget what you did. They may remind you again and again. But your Lord is not like people. He doesn't just forgive, He elevates. He replaces sin with good when the repentance is sincere. He can take the same person who used to harm and make them a source of healing for others. That's the transformation only Allah can bring. And it begins when you choose differently. So don't let your past silence you. Don't let it trap you in shame. You are always one decision away from a different life. One prayer away from a new chapter. One sincere intention away from a better ending. Choose to move forward. Choose to begin again. Sometimes we look at our decisions and wonder why we keep making the same mistakes. Why we fall into the same traps. Why we feel so distant from growth. And while personal responsibility is important, there's something we often overlook: our surroundings. The people you keep close, the voices you listen to, the environments you allow yourself to be in, they all shape your decisions more than you realize. You don't become who you want to be simply by wishing. You become who you surround yourself with. When you're constantly around negativity, gossip, distractions, or people who encourage sin, your sense of right and wrong begins to blur. Even if your intentions are pure, being in the wrong environment slowly wears you down. It influences your thinking, lowers your standards, and dims your spiritual sensitivity. On the other hand, when you're surrounded by people who remind you of Allah, who call you to higher standards, who hold you accountable with kindness, your decisions begin to reflect that. You start to choose better, not just because of your own strength, but because your surroundings push you toward goodness. Even something as simple as your social media feed has the power to influence your decisions. What you scroll through, who you follow, what you watch late at night. These things might seem harmless, but over time, they feed your mind and soul. They plant seeds that either grow into clarity or confusion. That's why being intentional about your environment isn't extra, it's essential. If you want to make stronger decisions, you have to build stronger surroundings. It's not always easy to step away from unhealthy spaces. It might feel lonely at first. You may lose friends. You may feel out of place. But what you gain is worth far more. You gain clarity. You gain strength. You gain a heart that is more awake to truth. And with that heart, your decisions become more grounded, more aligned, more blessed. So take a moment and ask yourself, who is shaping my decisions without me even noticing? What am I consuming that is silently guiding my choices? And who do I need closer in my life to help me choose the path that leads to Allah? Because the right surroundings won't make your decisions for you, but they'll make it easier to choose what's right.